Good afternoon and welcome to Tallarino and Tuzzolino. I am Tuzzolino. This is not Tallarino. This is
Sideshow Bob.
Tell us about yourself.
So my name is Matt Eastman. I go to UNLV studying sports marketing. Just got started with this guy on a new show tomorrow morning called The Sports Circus, and got about a year left of school. Big sports fan, big Raiders fan, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Why unfortunately? Are you kidding?
Just
They're playing well.
Just a rough night.
Yeah, get out of here. They had one night. Tommy will be back next week. Tommy, he missed his flight, so we've got Sideshow Bob stepping in here today. I'm kind of throwing him into the fire just because I can. Last night's game, the Raider game, actually it was a very good game. The Raiders did look a little shaky. You know, I would admit. Carr didn't have his best game, but he also played against a defense that was ready for him.
Right.
And this isn't a mistake. This is not the first time. We saw what happened in the first game they played, right? So this is the second time Kansas City beat them. And the important part about this is the Raiders gone from number 1 all the way down to number 5.
In one game.
Right, just in one game. And now there's a possibility that they will meet each other in the playoffs. And it's really hard, if you look historically, for any team in the NFL to beat the same team three times in one season.
Right.
We've seen that with Dallas and Washington over the years, Dallas and Philadelphia. Exactly. And that division just beats itself up left and right. And now the Giants are just kind of eking in there. And problem is you don't even know what Giant team is going to show up.
You hardly ever do.
Right. This Giant team can be really good, and they've got a lot of weapons, but I think they play to the level of their competition.
It's inconsistent. It's
horrible. It's horrible. In my opinion, it's horrible. You know, I'm not a big Giants fan. This is not about being a fan, but this is about watching consistency. And if you see this team carry on, it looks like they're kind of meandering their way through the season just to get to the postseason. Now, we see that with other sports all the time.
Even the years they won the Super Bowls, they weren't consistent all season.
No, they weren't.
Squeaked in and just found out how to play together towards the end.
Not since the 1980s. Right. You know, back in the years with Leonard Marshall and Lawrence Taylor and all those great players.
Of course.
But back to last night's game, if you look at the performance of Tyreek Hill, now think about Tyreek Hill and think a few years back, there was a guy in the Chicago Bears named Devin Hester. I'm seeing a lot of familiarity or a lot of similarities between these two players. Tyreek Hill's an incredible kickoff returner, punt returner. This is the guy that really knows how to get it done in special team side and from scrimmage.
Incredible speed.
Yeah, I mean, he has incredible speed. What I like about it is that he's not only a high-energy guy, but he basically has one gear, and that's like fifth gear. That's it. If you're driving a 5-speed, you know what I'm talking about. This guy is really quick, but he makes people miss left and right. And you see his moves? Oh, my God. His moves last night were crazy. You know, stop, stutter, twist, whatever, and before you know it, 4 guys are behind him.
Right.
That's crazy. So I think that if the Raiders and Chiefs meet again, we very well could see a different Raiders game plan and a different Raiders result.
I'm hoping we do see him again.
Well, I am too, because we kind of like to see the future Vegas Raiders, you know, move their way through the playoffs, right? That's what we're hoping for. So we shall see, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to Tom Flores about that maybe in a couple of weeks on another network. And then we'll report back to you and tell you exactly what happened. But even Tom had said earlier in the week, Tom told me that he's very suspect of the Raiders' run defense. And every network, whether it's Fox or ESPN or CBS or NBC Sports, they all have the very same, we don't know about the Raiders' run defense.
Even the Raiders' pass defense.
I was just going to go there because I think the Raiders' pass defense is just as suspect. You've got Khalil Mack up front.
If Khalil Mack can't get there, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not confident in him.
Right. I mean, he's 1 out of 10. What about the balance of the team? I don't know. And I know you've got some players that may not be the healthiest, but also I would like to see more consistency from the DBs and the safeties. And you know, that's the second week in a row now they've gotten far behind. They just didn't catch up this week. Remember last week, right. I think they had like 4 touchdowns at the end of the game.
Unanswered. 31 unanswered points.
Right. And so what does that tell you about the Oakland Raiders? It tells them that they need to move down here to Las Vegas. Right here, there's beautiful scenery. That's the backdrop for the Las Vegas Raiders coming right up. So let's switch over to Cam Newton. Did you read about Cam Newton?
I did.
What a moron.
This is just a lost season for him. It's seeming like.
Is it so difficult to wear a tie Is it really? Everybody owns ties. Every guy, for the most part, owns a tie. You've been to a wedding. You've been to a funeral. You've been to something where you've had to wear a tie. Come on, Cam. You've got mega millions.
And for a guy that's always dressed up to the nines after every game, for every pregame,
Right.
it's just shocking he couldn't figure out how to put on a tie.
So here's a bit of trivia. Did you know where when they say the whole 9 yards for a suit, like for a guy, do you know where that came from?
No.
Tell them no.
No.
Well,
No idea.
Right. So where it came from, this is kind of interesting. Got to keep my chips here. Where it came from is it actually takes 9 yards of material to make a suit.
Really? Okay, there it is.
Who knew? Who knew? I knew. I don't know. Don't ask me why. But back to Cam Newton. If Cam can't wear a tie, Cam shouldn't start the game. And that's exactly what's going on with Ron Rivera. He says, you're sitting down at least for the first segment or for the first series. And frankly, I think they should sit him down for half the game. Just to tell him that, look, you are not above the team. These are the team rules. Follow the rules. You're being paid to follow the rules.
So you fully agree with him being benched?
Absolutely.
Even with the result of that first series?
I don't care. I don't care if he sits for the first half of the game and they score 28 points. Because remember, they're playing San Diego. Now remember, San Diego only plays 58 minutes a game. They always find a way to lose at the end. Because either Rivers will find his guy, but he also finds the opposing team players.
Always.
Yeah, and so they're going to score 60 points in that game, and Rivers just can't seem to deliver. They got to get rid of that guy. So I think if they sit Cam Newton for 1, 2 series, a quarter, half a game, hell, they could sit him for the whole game. It doesn't matter. Rivers is going to find a way to lose the game for San Diego because that's what he does. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
Absolutely. The guy's awful. So let's go over to the Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are at 6-6 right now. And this is a team that is teetering on making a playoff berth. They're not going to win the division.
No.
Because Detroit's going to probably win that division. I'm thinking Green Bay has a small chance. Because I think they play him.
I like Green Bay now. They're starting to get their stuff together.
You like him now?
Yeah.
A bandwagon fan? I'm
No,
from Chicago, and I'm kind of rooting for Green Bay only because I know that Aaron Rodgers has the tools, but he hasn't had a running game. He has not had a running game at all. So he's been, over 70% in the passing department with the addition of Michael from Seattle. I think Seattle did them a really big favor.
I think so too.
That was a horrible move on Seattle's part. And I don't think Pete Carroll had anything to do with
especially with the
that.
injuries that they've been having at running back.
Oh, I know.
Themselves.
With Rawls, etc.
Right.
Yeah, it hasn't been good. It's a really bad move. Pro-Size goes down, Rawls goes down, and now you get rid of the only back you have that's really worth a crap. And guess what? Then you ship them off to a competitor.
Over to Green Bay, right.
So now what you've done is you've taken Green Bay and you made them relevant despite the fact that they have a couple of guys on defense that are injured. So now Green Bay has a real shot to get back in. And I said 2 weeks ago they were going to win out. Well, they've already won.
You think they have a chance this week?
Absolutely. Right? I mean, they're playing Seattle, but they're playing Seattle at home, and we'll get to that in the next segment. But I think Green Bay has a real good shot of running the table, or at least getting 5 out of the last 6, and they're going to find themselves in one of those playoff spots. And if you remember back when they made the Super Bowl in 2011, they were a wild card team. The Bears won that division, and they went on to play Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. What happened there? Ask yourself what happened there. This is a Green Bay team that knows how to win.
They can do it.
And they can do it. But I don't know if they could get past Seattle in the playoffs.
I
think they can get by them in a regular season game. But
especially in Seattle.
They're a different animal in the playoffs, and I'm not so sure about that. But we'll see. Can they get to the Super Bowl? Probably not, in my opinion. I don't even think they could beat Atlanta in the playoffs. That's a whole nother discussion.
No, I think that would be a good game.
It'd be a very good game. But Atlanta's defense is starting to show up a little bit. When you've been seeing scores of, combined totals of mid-50s to mid-60s in a typical Atlanta game, now you're seeing the scores drop a little bit, and Atlanta's starting to play a little defense. Maybe because they're getting healthy on defense, too. That could be it. I don't know. But the one thing that we know for sure is that there's a possibility that Cleveland could go 0 for the whole season.
I think they are, unless RG3 can come back and save the day.
Robert Griffin,
get him a game.
He's starting this week, and he's playing against a Cincinnati team that they stink. I mean, Cleveland's bad, But Cincinnati's just as bad. They happen
Almost.
to have 4 wins.
Yeah.
Right? And so now this is a team that really doesn't have anything to play for. And the Browns, of course, I think they have the number 1 locked up. So they could try to win a game. And I'm going to get to that in the next segment because I think the Browns are going to come through and win this week. And there's a lot of reasons why. But when I look at what the Bengals bring to the table, this is a battered team. They're
Without AJ
toolless.
Green.
Oh, this team is in big trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, from their wideouts to their offensive linemen, they have problems. On the defensive side, they have problems. Number 1, they have nothing to play for, so why not rest them? Right? So you get a healthy next year. But also, you have a Cleveland team that doesn't want to go winless. Nobody wants to go winless. If I were playing, I wouldn't want to. Would you?
And you got a hungry RG3.
Yes, and he is starting this
Coming
week.
back.
And this is the chance for him to become relevant again by taking Cleveland off the schneid and getting them a win.
Right.
So we shall see what happens on Sunday, but I don't know. I'm thinking Cleveland's going to give themselves a win, and we'll pick that up on the other side.